So I get asked pretty often about prison. People ask me the typical questions, about what it's like, if it's true, how things are depicted in the movies, and about rape, about prisoner abuse from guards, things like that. And so, if you go back in my video history, you'll see that I did touch significantly on the topic. I went into depth about not only my experiences there, but what brought me to prison and my life after prison. But I'll go ahead and take this time to share some more info. So, the number one question I get asked is about rape. Does prison rape exist as it's depicted in the movies and on television? And the answer is, unfortunately, yes. Yes, people do get raped. People do get raped. It's not a very common thing, but it's all really dependent on where you are, what institution you're in, what state you're in, and how you carry yourself. But you have to keep in mind that going into an environment like that, it's like a fucking jungle. It's chaos. There is no order within the confines of this building. It's just madness. And so you're in there with some very sick, twisted people. And some of these people have been in there for 20 years, 30 years. Some of these people just got there with 100-year sentences, life with no parole. So you have to understand that when you look at the whole context of the circumstance, nothing that we can make sense of out here in the free world applies. It just doesn't apply. And with the rape thing, something that I was always troubled by, a lot of the guys who are these predators, the sexual predators, and take advantage of other people sexually, they don't call themselves homosexual. They don't acknowledge that they're gay. And so they have this crazy way of thinking in prison, at least in some of the places that I've seen, that as long as you're not the one taking it, you're the giver, you're not gay. That's fucking bullshit. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. That's ridiculous. If you touch another man sexually in any way, you're gay. Period. No exceptions. And so these guys, they've convinced themselves that they're not homosexual. But they understand that in their life, there is no such thing as women anymore. It's gone forever. They'll never touch a female again in their whole entire existence. And so what's the next best thing? You see a young, good-looking guy coming in, or you see somebody who looks like he has no friends, someone who looks like he can't defend himself. That's where their eyes go. And so rape does happen. And again, one of the unfortunate realities. Another question I was asked is about the guards. Do the guards really abuse people badly? And the answer for me was that the guards are much, much more of a threat than the inmates are. I understand how to move among prisoners, convicts, street people, gangsters, thugs, killers. I understand the language that these people speak. I'm able to speak it well. But the guards, you can't make any sense of how they treat people and how they interact with people, because they'll beat the fuck out of somebody for nothing. You look at one of them the wrong way and he takes it in some kind of way, he'll attack you, and they jump you and they'll abuse you and they'll beat you bad. I've been in institutions, maximum security institutions, where the guards were killing people and covering it up. And the cover-up went so far as to the infirmary and intensive care units within the prisons that people often ended up where everyone was covering up for everybody. That's the reality of prison. You walk into a cage, a place like that, you have no rights. You have no voice. You have nothing. You have no protection. And in the free world, we're protected by so many different things that we may not even realize. We're protected by our community. We're protected by law. We're protected by police. We're protected by the society in general that we live among. We're protected in our homes. We have family. We have friends. We have personal means of protection. We have weapons. We have whatever you want. There are so many levels of protections in place for the average American citizen. Whereas once you cross those gates and walk through into that fucking jungle of a world that is prison, all that shit's wiped out. You have nothing. You're on your own. You're on your own, and you're about to enter a world where the worst of the worst are the regulars. You have rapists, you have killers, you have pedophiles, you have street gangsters, drug, whoever. And I don't give a fuck what somebody's done in the past, but the bottom line is these people are defectives. They're defectives, and a lot of them are sick in the mind. And so you could just imagine, what you'll have to deal with when you're in there, and all those protections removed. You got to make a choice about how you're going to live. For me, I again, if you're interested in more of the history of it and the specifics, you can watch my other videos. You'll see the whole thing. But for me, I understood from the beginning, that there's no way I'm going to be a victim to anybody. There's no fucking way. There's no way. No fucking man is going to victimize me. But at the same time, I understood that there are circumstances under which people have no choice. It doesn't matter how bad you are, how tough you are, how willing to fucking murder you are. It doesn't matter. If you're outnumbered, if they jump you, if there's 6-on-1 in the cell, you have no choice. So things happen. Things happen. And so I went in with that mindset of defending myself no matter what. But also with the thoughts that if something were to happen to me, and I were to be taken advantage of in some way, it doesn't have to be sexual, that I would fucking respond with murder. I would fucking murder the motherfucker. 1 or 10 or 20, however many. They'd all fucking die. They would all cease to exist. And I say this, and it's hard for me to even say these things. When I verbalize my thoughts sometimes, I'm just taken aback by it, because you have to understand the context and the time that I was in. I was a different person, and the fact that I was walking into these places facing a lifetime in prison anyway. I was facing 140 plus years. So that allowed me to take that position where I'm not going to become a victim no matter what. But for the next person, the guy who's coming in with 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, he has a different state of mind, because he has a lot to lose. He has a lot to lose, and he has hope for something beyond prison. So he doesn't want to get caught up in prison fights. He doesn't want to catch charges in prison. He doesn't want to catch a body and murder somebody in self-defense. He doesn't want that. And that becomes the difficulty of that type environment. How do you, with a couple years' time and hope and dreams for the future and family and friends and so much to lose, how do you stand and fight a man who has nothing, who's been in a cage for 10, 15, 20 years already, who has a 160-year sentence, who has no family, no friends, no money, no nothing, no hope, and no concern for what happens to him? He doesn't give a fuck. How do you fight a man like that? That's what was my concern from the beginning in prison. Not me getting hurt, but avoiding me having to fucking get crazy in there and catch more time and catch a body and never come out. That was my biggest fear every single day. Praying that today is not the day that I have to shed blood, because I wanted to go home. I wanted to go home, and I had hope for things after this. And so, the bottom line is, man, prison is not the place to be. It's really not. It's fucked up in so many ways, and I can go on and on. I have so many different stories about prisons. I've been in so many institutions. I get asked how many I've been. I've been in a lot. Too many is the answer. Too many jails and too many prisons. And the reason why I don't really get too in depth in these type stories is because my motivation in sharing anything to begin with is to hopefully help somebody and be able to connect with somebody in some way that maybe they'll take my words and my testimony to heart and apply, the warnings that I'm giving them. Maybe they don't know the reality of prison. Maybe they believe the bullshit that they see on TV or that they've heard from others. That's my whole point. That's my whole intention. I just want to help people. I want people to know the truth. And I'm exposing myself in this way and making myself vulnerable in a lot of ways for that reason. I want people to know what the real deal is. It's not cool to go to prison in any way. It's the worst fucking place you could be. So give it some thought, guys.